from house to house, wondering. Getting in cars, wondering. Sucking on drinks in bars, still questioning, whose child am I? With tears in her eyes leaking, overflowing as the streams, the high priestess sits in between, pondering the darkness of the night. But in her mind, she remembers. She remembers their pain. She embodies their pain. See, she's been torn apart, ripped limb from limb, she's dragging, but strong. Strong enough to take the pain, and she takes it again and again, stuck between worlds with no way out. Stuck, born in shame and doubt, with no one to take the blame, forced to live. Still holding on to the bitterness and shame, still living, but wanting to be reborn. She's no stereotype or a fragment of what one imagined to be, or is she? And then, maybe one day when they're all free, their frowns turn to smiles. Maybe all she needs is for someone to whisper in her ear, hush, little baby, and don't you cry. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You're somebody's baby, nobody's victim. I will take you as mine. Awaken. Come back alive again. Hey everybody, my name is Aquila Lewis Ross. I am a spoken word artist, I'm a singer, author, and I'm also a journalist. And a mama, that's one of my greatest accomplishments that I'm really excited about. I have a 2-year-old, her name is Michaela, AKA Baby Love. I think she's trying to come under the table. I met Samsara and her amazing doula and midwife cohort. When I was looking for a doula myself, I didn't really have, I still to this day don't really have support from my family. And I wanted something different. I wanted to be outside of the tradition of what it's like to have a baby. So part of my story, I have a poem. I'm gonna share maybe some of it with you. But part of my story is that I really wanted to I wanted to have my daughter birthed at a birth center. Well, that didn't happen completely because she had meconium, and so we had to go to SF General, which is what's it called, Zuckerberg or something. I didn't want to have birth in a hospital. I hated hospitals, so that whole experience, wasn't part of the birth plan. But my daughter had a plan, and she was still birthed 5 days later. That was definitely an experience, but it was an experience that I had to go through. I had to go through a lot. She was my 3rd pregnancy, and to this day, I'm still dealing with the fact that I had abortion the other 2 ones. I'm part of a group of folks who are also struggling or thinking or something about the decisions that they made or had to make or they just decided to make. And also, as a poet, I'm writing about everything that I'm feeling. So I'm gonna share with you a couple of poems that I wrote recently. They're not published. That first one was published in my book called Stop Hurting and Dance, which I don't have today, but if you're interested in getting a book, I can tell you where to go. It was published by Bacino Press, a local press here in Oakland, so I can get that information for you. This poem is I wrote for my daughter. It's called Whimsy and Fancy Free. For baby love, she's whimsy and carefree. Nothing like me, I'm rigid and awkward, touched by age 3. Unwanted hands on me, unwanted body, unwanted I remain until she came. She reminds me to see the beauty. When I want to be alone and cry all the pain away, she reminds me to smile anyway. Her gibberish is delightful. Her language is insightful. Her laugh is infectious as I join in. She's wild and feisty, beautiful too. I tell her, no matter what they say, there's nothing terrible about you. She scribbles and giggles and loves to dance, loves to sing. She lives the dreams I dreamt. She was meant to live past me. She was meant to live because she lives, I live too. And with time, she could teach me her rhymes. Ode to the fancy, ode to the whimsy, ode to the carefree. So I'm one of those type of people that I really love fairy tales, and I really love princesses and fairies and things like that. So I have this poem. It's called Where Fairies Live. Everything is on my phone because it's not published yet. So Where Fairies Live. This is also about my daughter, and I dreamt about it, this poem. There is a place where fairies live, and hummingbirds sing sweetly. A place where flowers bloom every season starting in June, where little girls run freely. She goes there in her dreams, skipping on cobblestones near the babbling brook, dipping her finger in to feel the temperature, whether hot or cold she doesn't know. But she leans forward to take a look. What's under there? She rides on the backs of unicorns as they gallop. On the yellow brick road, the leprechauns hand out pots of gold to each little girl that's been good. Did you know monarch butterflies have camouflage wings? They change in the spring from calico to white and brown. The wish flower really makes wishes come true, and the four-leaf clover brings more fortune. This is a place, interwoven with legends of magic, where devils and demons and abusers don't run free. And sheroes always win. She can sleep peacefully now dreaming, because champions turn her make-believe into something real. Thank you. So the last poems I wrote was based upon this practice called ekphrastic, where basically a writer or a poet, they write a poem or anything based upon an artist's painting. So I did something like that, and this poem is called Read With Me. Hold on a second, I gotta get to it. Sorry, all right, come read with me. When I was a little girl, I loved to read. In between when the rooster crows and the sun laid down to rest, there I be, flying on Aladdin's carpet, closing my eyes to imagine what it felt like to receive true love's kiss. And then I did feel it. But he was gone. Somebody's fairy godmother was praying for me. I didn't need to change to someone else or be anything else but me. I was born royalty. I am queen. I am goddess. It begins and ends with me. All right, thank you. So I have a couple more. My daughter over there talking. So I have a couple of poems called a mama song, and a love song. Okay. A mama song. The babies over there are so cute. So this is written in response to a painting like I was telling you guys about. It's called Peruvian Mother in the Field, and it's by Daisy Villanueva. Mamas everywhere have a song. It is sung as they see their young born for the first time. Each breath begins a new song. So many songs have been written. Scores are written on seashores, in the fields, toiling in the hot sun, feeding us. A new day has begun. The indigenous hold on and remember, using their medicine to heal us, to heal the land. And they want us to remember, and so we must. Heal the people, heal the land, free them all, but we've forgotten how to sing. Thank you. All right, so I have two more and then I will go. So this is called a love song. A lot of my poems are sometimes I hear them in songs. This might be a song, but it's a love song for someone who needs it. This is my long love song for you, so you don't ever forget who you are, the beauty and the beautiful and wonderfully made you. Wake up, smell the flowers. It smells like jasmine and lavender and roses, evening primrose even. Water feels good. It reaches the soul when needed. Whether cold or hot springs, it knows how to make your body sing. Girlfriends and loved ones are few and many, and waiting for you. They'll keep waiting until you see, and hear, and feel, and believe again. A loss is not really a loss. Take time and mourn and know you are loved. You are love. And when depression kicks in and the pain lives deep within, watch the sun rise and set. Just know that you too can begin again. All right. So the last one is called Wishing Well. I wish you love. We need it today more than ever. As you find your way in this world, you may see the change you want to see and do something to make a difference without conditions. But sometimes change is hard to do, and loving is harder still. But love anyway. Find reasons you should. I wish you joy. It comes from within. It comes when you make peace with who you are and why you are and how you are right now in this moment. Just think about all the things you've accomplished until now. You should feel proud. Don't worry. All who are here are proud of you and know the reasons why you should. I wish you peace. Take some time now to rest before you leap. While becoming a master of anything, you must practice. Repetition becomes easy. Even though conflict, violence, active shooters, polluters, war, and death may strike, peace sneaks in as a friend you forgot was there all along. Remember when you didn't care what people thought and it was easy to compromise? Surprise! You can get back there again. You're the master of your destiny. You know all the reasons why you should. And I wish you well. Rest your head on the wishing well. Drop a lucky penny in its healing waters. Be well. Wellness is active. Be aware of your choice. Be healthy. Look forward to a fulfilling life. Be well. Forever changed, balance. Set your mind, body, and spirit free. Let's fly and live our lives dipped by healing waters. If you're old, you can be forever young. Just count your blessings and name them one by one. So I'll leave you with this. For those of you who are going through some things, my family's gonna keep it real and be honest. My family is actually homeless. We've been homeless since September. We're living with friends, so we're not houseless, we're homeless and trying to figure out the next step. This is my first time mom, 41 years old, 42 next year. And like I said, I don't really have anybody else to rely on, so I'm just doing what I gotta do and just following what's supposed to do. following her, following what she needs, and it's been great. For those of you who need a friend, for those of you who've been through some things, just keep on holding on. There is definitely relief. When you least expect it, it comes. For me, my outlet has been poetry, spoken word, performance. Find an outlet, find something that you can to release. You don't want to hold on to that pain because it can definitely make you go to a place you didn't expect to be. So thank you so much, Samsara, for another opportunity to share. I'm looking forward to seeing what life brings. Take care, everybody.
So let's have another round of applause for our amazing poetess. She's having a good time. I want to thank her for her amazing words, and I I also want to use this opportunity to just say, like, I didn't know what Akula was going to share about her family situation, and point out that I've been sick for quite a while this year, for most of the tail end of the year. And you've been showing up and wanting to help me and being wonderful when your family's going through all that. So I just want to publicly acknowledge you for mothering with such grace under such pressure. And we need applause for that. And this to me is a big part of what the Oakland Better Birth Foundation is all about. We do a lot of work we don't get paid for. And so what? It's work that needs to be done. We are supporting this brand of fierce parenting. We are supporting choices, full reproductive choices, how to have your baby, when to have a baby, when you don't want to have a baby, all those choices. In the face of deep, dark patriarchy that doesn't give a darn whether poor people or brown people have babies at all or survive at all. So that's the reality in which we're doing this work, and the challenge is to do it with grace, because we are on the right side of history and we are on the right side of spirit. And so we're going to be blessed for that. We have the faith of knowing that we're going to be blessed for that. It's also very important for me that Oakland Better Birth Foundation receives most of our funds from the community. And the community has to decide that the work that we do is important enough or has value. And I know that's hard because everybody's struggling financially. And for the most part, I'd say we are very blessed by the community in lots of ways, big and small. And a big blessing is your presence here this evening. So I want to thank you again for being here on a Monday night when it's not warm and holiday things are going on and people are getting their Christmas trees or their Hanukkah bushes or whatever the heck they're doing. So thank you for being here. Another thing that's really important for me as a birth worker and as executive director of Oakland Better Birth Foundation is that we promote better birth in the Bay. So we're all about bragging about all the amazing things that we are doing. And I want to invite the amazing Tilsner women to come forward and share with us some amazing birthy business that they're up to. Come over here. Somebody can take a picture of me with these amazing women who I love so much. We've just been loving each other a long time. Sorry. Thank you. It's real important to me that birth workers never feel in competition with one another. There's enough for all of us to do good work in this world, and we're all needed, and all of our clients have different needs, and they're different doulas and birth workers to meet those needs. So I'm going to give them, and any birth person or holistic health person who wants to come up and talk about amazing things that they're doing in the community, this is going to be your time. Also, anybody who has a straight poem that they just gotta say out loud, this is a time for you to do that too. If there's a mommy who wants to talk about her birth, we got time for that as well. So let me know, tap on my shoulder if you want to have the microphone to do any of that stuff. So, what are you Tilsners up to?
Hi everybody. I didn't know that this was going to happen until we got here. Surprised them. Yes. First, just we adore you, and the work that you do is so inspiring. Really appreciate your attention. We've been training doulas in the Bay Area since 2006. We've been friends with Samsara for ever. Since a long time. And we are the co-executive directors of Cornerstone Doula Trainings. I have my phone here because I figured I would just read our mission statement. I can't just pull it up right from my mind when I get nervous. But for Cornerstone Doula Trainings, our mission is to organize and activate a radically inclusive community of doulas and birth keepers to provide full spectrum care to all, Cornerstone doulas and birth keepers champion equitable access to safe, supported, and dignified care for all communities throughout the reproductive lifespan. Our collective care is focused on closing gaps in disparate maternal and infant health outcomes, increasing reproductive health equity, and creating positive change in all reproductive health outcomes, and as a result, our society at large. So that pretty much says what we're here for. We just came off the heels of a 3-day long full spectrum doula training that we led here in Oakland a few days ago, and it was so rich and so intense that we're pretty drained. But that's what we do, and we love Oakland. We love our community. We have a really strong focus on community and the work that we do. We're right now in the planning stages of putting on a community baby shower up here at Lake Merritt in July. And we have our birth keeper training program that's directed and led by Jazzy Lane Baptiste. Yeah. So that's us. That's what we're doing. And we're really, really honored to be here and to be sharing space with you all.
Thanks so much. Do you want to say something? No.
Mother-daughter team. She's nervous with the mic.
It's Thank you, Zoe.
So, I'll just say briefly, Oakland Better Birth Foundation has a lot of wonderful things coming up next year. Also, Oakland Better Birth Foundation equals me. And I've been working on with a group of folks who are putting together a childbirth education program that's going to be geared specifically for African American mothers. And our wonderful social services people will be providing that education to our mothers here in Alameda County, which I think is quite a triumph. And I'm very, very proud of it. And I kind of showed up in a very wary kind of way because I've dealt with the county before. But once I made the suggestion that we pretty much do our work in honor of the grand midwives, 20th century African American midwives, and everybody agreed unanimously, I felt better. So it feels wonderful that folks who are going to be going to working with social workers and working in certain environments, low-income moms, but not all low-income moms, will be able to have information that's geared for them, that imagery looks like them, talks about their issues as well as the triumphs for them. Because we want to stop focusing so much, although mortality is an issue. I'm having too many young Black women tell me, oh, I just won't have a baby then. So that's not the message that we want to give. That's not the deal. It's not that you shouldn't have a baby because of racism and white supremacy. No. We need to be working on racism and white supremacy so that you can decide to have a baby whenever you want and have no fear, because basically a healthy human giving birth shouldn't really have to be afraid to give birth. Healthy humans have babies, and it's a rare, rare and sad thing when we lose a human birthing. So I'm very happy that there are aspects, little tendrils in Alameda County that really have good intention, and I'm happy to work with them on that. I was recently contacted by the folks at La Clinica, and they are talking to us about wanting to be able to refer their clients to us, so that's very exciting. Very, very exciting. My book, hopefully, Birth, An African American's Guide to Surviving and Thriving in Childbirth, will be available in February if nothing else happens. Thank you. Starting in March, I will be doing doula trainings with SMC, which used to be ICTC, as you know, the International Center for Traditional Childbearing. So we will be providing the most excellent Afrocentric training for doulas that exists on the planet Earth, in my humble opinion. It's the most amazing training. And it's the most amazing training for anybody who wants to have a good, solid, traditional approach to this process of birthing and birth care. I love all these little people. People say that children can't be at meetings. What are they talking about? We having a meeting? Are there children here? It's so private. So that stuff's going on. Is there someone else who wants to brag on their amazing work and or practice? You want to brag on anything? You want to talk about homosexuality that you were teaching? You're going to keep teaching some more?
Your paper fell. Okay, I got you. Here. Did you want to speak? I'd love to share about my study. If that's okay, here. You want to sit with mommy while I share about my work? Of course she wants to sit with me.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Balaza. I am a scholar, researcher, mama, and I am conducting the first ever mixed methods research on birth pleasure. So, yeah. So I am doing, I get the privilege of having incredibly rich conversations with folks who are willing to talk to me about their delicious, juicy, yummy, ecstatic, orgasmic, just spiritually explosive birth experiences. And as someone who was very blessed when I had this one here, this explosive package right here, when she was born, I had just a absolutely transformative birth experience that took over my whole career. I wasn't even going to be doing this. And then I had a baby. I don't know who else's life was totally transformed by having a baby around here. I think I'm in good company. In any case, if you or someone you know would like to have a rich, amazing conversation with me about their experience of this, I would be more than honored to speak with you. And the goal is to really center and highlight the experiences of people of color, queer people, because most of the work that's been done on positive and empowering birth experiences has centered white folks. And I know around here, we get why that's a huge problem. So I'd be honored to connect with you if you want to share your story with me. Otherwise, it's just birthpleasure@gmail.com. So you can hit me up that place too. And I look forward to hearing from you. And hopefully we'll have some really great, informative data, right, to start to help chip away against this monolith of oppression we're facing, right, creating the birth outcomes we want to see. So thank you for giving me a second to share about that, and I'm so thrilled to meet you all. Even with my 2 toddlers here running me ragged. And lovely.
Thank you.
You did great.
Thank you. Baby. I gotta chase that. Oh.
So, Megan, you want to come talk about your beautiful work? It's the first tears of the evening.
Good evening, everybody. Happy holidays. I'm Dr. Megan Lewis. I'm the founding executive director of the LGBTQ Perinatal Wellness Center, which is just around the bend, housed in the Oakland LGBTQ Community Center. It's where our headquarters exists, and we are a collaborative of perinatal wellness providers. Evan Walker is one of our providers. We have currently 14 providers, from midwives, doulas, birth and postpartum doulas, counselors, nutritionists, herbalists, acupuncturists, chiropractors, so many more wellness providers, mostly based in the East Bay. A few providers are homeopathists in San Francisco, as are some of our midwives. And our mission is to create innovative programming for LGBTQIA potential parents to be, or hopeful parents to be.
Well done. So our focus is really on creating financially accessible and culturally competent healthcare services for folks from the preconception period all the way through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. We're very interested in working with our allied allopathic providers and helping them to provide compassionate and culturally competent care in institutional birth settings. We are also offering lots of programming as we speak. Just winding down is our TTC, which is Trying to Conceive, support group for trans men, masculine center, and gender non-binary folk. We have many, many support groups, including intentional solo parent support groups. I'm an intentional solo parent, as is
Evan, you want to say a word? Yep.
I think that just building community is another one of our focuses, and there's just so many different communities to be part of. There are solo parents, there are couples that are trying to conceive, there are, as you said, people that are masculine center, and I think there's really a space for everyone. So anyone who has any interest in birth, in children, and family, and what that can look like for the queer community is welcome. And part of the reason I felt like I'm empowered enough to have her on my own, my 10-year-old is back there, but I didn't think I was going to have another one, but I had another one because I had support. So I met Megan, and Megan said, I'm working on this thing, I have this idea for the center and this project, do you want to help? And so I do kind of like, I don't know, I call myself a birth priestess. I'm not a doula, although that sounds fascinating, but I kind of coach people through their spiritual journey on how to conceive, if they want to conceive, and what that looks like. And I think that pretty much anyone can find what they're looking for. And that's nice because I think as queer people, we're not told that we're part of that reality, that we're part of that world, but we are here and queer and having babies. So it's, we're hoping to provide a space for that.
Right, and you've probably seen this in many bumper stickers and buttons, pins that love makes the family, and it's so very true. One of the projects that I'm working on that Kevin is a contributor to is an anthology, and I currently have 17 amazing essays on LGBTQIA conception and birth, so unique accounts of that process, that journey, and it's entitled In the Family Way. So if you happen to know of any queer families who might want to contribute a short essay, please invite them to be in touch with me. Yeah, so it's a lengthy. Well, it's Dr. Lewis, Lewis, at LGBTQperinatalwellnesscenter.org. Thank you.
So much. This community rocks. So I have my wonderful coordinator of communications who's going to communicate some things. Come here, coordinator of communications. This is Jessalyn Bellarano, who's a pretty damn good doula. And she also communicates very well. She writes amazing things for our newsletter. If you get our newsletter, make sure you do get our newsletter. You're going to read a lot of stuff from her, a few words from me. I like to make videos. Writing makes me crazy. But anyways.
Thank you, Samsara. As Samsara said, I'm Jessalyn Bellarano. I'm the communications person at OBBF. I didn't prepare anything, but I just wanted to say something briefly about advocacy and the politics of doulas and birth workers as they stand today. Some of you might be aware of the long and sordid history of disenfranchising midwifery and slowly or quickly chipping away at people's birthing rights when it comes to location, types of care, freedom to birth as we want to, with whom, when. So that's maybe a little bit more familiar to you, but as doulas are now trendy, sexy, services to hire, thanks in part to people like Samsara's dedication for 20 years, not blaming Samsara. Doulas are very much needed, but they also are trendy for good reason, which is that people need us. At the same time, they've also become a little bit of a status symbol in some places. And so there are institutions and bodies of authority who have gotten confused or potentially are not confused about what good doula care is and how it can save lives and save lives of Black and brown and queer and otherwise marginalized communities. And also just in general for all client-patient provider relationships makes hospitals a lot less money. So we're seeing kind of this intersection of agendas and motives, and it's starting to affect doula care on a state and national level. And so the reason I asked Samsara if I could say something is I want you to keep your ears perked and your eyes open, because you may see some very intriguing and even attractive offers for insurance to cover doulas, or Medicaid to cover doulas, or hospitals to provide their own doulas, and other ways that some of the institutions that are the providers of care and insurance are starting to co-opt doula care. And while that might sound really nice on the surface, what it does is it removes the aspect of advocacy, of having doulas as third-party, objective, client-focused providers. It also limits our scope of practice significantly. We are not medical care providers as doulas, but some of the initiatives that we're seeing across different states are trying to define what a doula can do, so far as even putting their hands with consent onto someone's body or showing somebody what essential oils they might use, and so on and so forth. This is also creating barriers to professional doulas. So we know from our experiences and from the evidence that having community birth workers, people who share experience and identity and history with our own community, is really helpful in improving experiences and outcomes. And places such as New York State are starting to develop guidelines that create both financial and experiential or resume-based obstacles to becoming a doula. So that means you have to pay extra fee to the state. That means you can only say you're a certified doula if you go through the state's criteria for becoming certified. That means that if you do not have the correct, quote, content of character based on state administrators' guidelines, you might not, to be of good character by state guidelines, you may not get to be a doula. And so we're starting to see what's happened to midwifery happen to the doula profession. And as much as even my own mother, who works in domestic violence and sexual violence prevention and is a huge advocate for reproductive justice, she didn't recognize that what was happening in my home state of New York was actually not a great thing. She's like, oh, they're gonna cover it with insurance? That sounds good. And I had to tell my mom, actually, this is going to disenfranchise communities of color where doulas are coming from those own communities. This is going to disenfranchise low-income communities. This is potentially going to limit how doulas practice. This is going to do things that we can't even really imagine at this point, because we've seen here in Oakland and beyond how it takes years, decades for us to lose our rights. And so I just invite you to keep your eyes and your ears open, and if a researcher comes to you, if an institution comes to you, if an insurance company comes to you offering something that sounds really good, ask hard questions, ask what the doulas are being reimbursed, ask how the doulas are being trained, and if they have to be trained through a hospital or have to be trained through the state in order to get certification, ask how they're being reimbursed. Ask who gets to be a doula, and it takes us and parents and care providers and people who speak legalese to all work together to make sure that doulas maintain their integrity as a profession, and that any regulation that does occur is spearheaded from within the doula community to make us better, not more. So that's my message. Please keep an ear out for blog posts, etc.
Thank you, Jessalyn. We have to remember that when someone is paying us, we become obligated to the person paying us. And no matter how we think that that's not going to affect us, it does. So bearing that in mind is really helpful. Dr. Rochelle, you want to come say something? Come up here. The babies are melting down and their mamas are taking them home, so, sorry about that. These babies have been here since 6 o'clock. They're really actually...
We'll let you know if you win the raffle.
Well, hi everyone. I am so glad that Samsara invited me here. I had a really busy day, but I was like, I'm gonna make it, I'm just gonna be late. But I'm Dr. Michelle Johnson. I'm a naturopathic doctor. Actually, I just moved my practice. I was here in Oakland, and I just moved to Richmond, but I am still seeing people in the Bay Area. And I actually like to help women with preconception. So that's working with the body naturally and figuring out, are your hormones in balance? I do a lot of what's considered functional medicine testing. So that's like assessing the thyroid function, assessing your adrenal glands, also looking and seeing if your ovaries are producing enough of the hormones that they need at the right time. And so with working with me, people are working with lifestyle changes. Assessing diet and nutrition, also doing B vitamin injections, which I learned from another midwife naturopathic doctor also, so that can really help. But yeah, we're just working with gently changing how you are doing things so that you can conceive naturally. And I also work with people with a lot of digestive issues also. So I do nutritional IV therapy in my office. If people are having Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, even if they just have like parasitic infections, we just don't know. IBS is another one that's been coming up quite a bit. So, I always say it starts with nutrition, right? And if your body can't break down the foods like it's supposed to, then you're not going to have nutrients, which are the building blocks for everything else. So that's usually how I'm working with people. So just know that I am here as a resource for you all. And I love seeing all of the beautiful babies around. It's awesome. It's like that vibrant energy that I don't have right now. So it's good. So congratulations with everyone, and definitely, Samsara, continue everything that you're doing. I know it's been a long year, but continue it. You're doing great.
So I forgot to mention before that, I should sit up and be proud, that I celebrate 40 years of being a doula this October. And I thank God every day for this work. I thank God every day. I don't know. I'm not fit for anything else. There's nothing else that I would really want to do. Except, being a mommy, but no one's paying you for that. But I'm really grateful for this work. I'm really grateful for the people that I work with, the most amazing women in the world. I want to give amazing public thanks to my assistant, Mika, who held things down. Big applause for her. I was very sick for 2-3 months. I'm still kind of sick, but I'm getting better. And she just held things down in the most beautiful and exquisite way. And we had beautiful births and satisfied clients and gorgeous babies. And we strolled 2 women up into the hospital at 10 centimeters. And you cannot stop this practice. It was amazing. So I just really want to thank her for that. I know it took a lot. It was a big bog out of her life to do that. Luckily, we had Kathleen helping her, so she wasn't all alone, but still a lot when you're the assist to step into first position, and especially me, because I take up a lot of bandwidth. So she did a great job, and I'm so grateful to her for that. We're going to find Tim in a minute. I want to point out that I have a beautiful student. Well, she's not a student anymore. She's a junior doula amazingness. And Priscilla has beautiful items here for sale because doulas are queens and kings of the side gig. So please support my doula side gig. And if any beautiful things here appeal to you, 10% of her proceeds will come to Oakland Better Birth Foundation. What else did I want to say? Does everybody have a raffle ticket? Okay, now's the time to find them, because if you were me, I would have lost it an hour ago. So I'll give you time to look for your, and I'm gonna call you up, Tim. Come here, Tim.
Thank you.
You sure can. We got a mommy that wants to say something.
An amazing mommy.
Brand new one.
Hi,
Brand new one.
I'm Naomi, and I'm a massage therapist of 11 years, and this is my 6-week-old son, Django. I had him at home, this incredible birth, and I really appreciate the midwives, Kiki Jordan, and my doula, Ajira, and groups of labor and programs like that provide doulas to people that don't have the money for it. He was a surprise, and I decided to have him, and I'm a single mom. I also do Narcon training, and I wanted to just mention that because I did that for Samsara and her crew of doulas, and to remind everyone that the medicine, if it hasn't been used, it probably has expired. And I would love to do more trainings. I do them for free, and I work with get the Narcon kids from Pet Back, and also was running the West Oakland Community Clinic and Cafe. It was all free services, and we were having it at Quilombo, which has shut down, and I got pregnant right after that. So the clinic has been on hiatus, but we are looking for a new space, and I would love to get the clinic, monthly clinic, up and running again next year. It's just all free services, Samsara, and some of the doulas would sometimes come and table there, but it's mostly massage and acupuncture and other services once a month. And I also have some ideas to maybe hop around to some of the spaces in West Oakland, like rotate to, there's some drop-in clinics, women's shelters, things like that, and just do like a pop-up style. But yeah, I would love to do that, and anyone can get my information. I specialize in prenatal and postpartum massage too, but also for the Narcon, it's saved a lot of lives in West Oakland. All right, I'm gonna get back to our game.
Thank you. Hi, little Django. Look at that face. Oh my God, the cuteness in there. So this is my good friend Tim.
Yay! Hi, Tim.
We all have to give him lots of love.
Yay.
And we all have to tell all of our friends that this is the only restaurant they should come to eat in, because they're wasting their time eating in any other establishments. Because restaurateurs who love birth,
That's true.
you know what I'm saying? That's really special. Well, thank you for doing this for us again. Oh, such a prince of a person.
I am Tim. I own Shakewell. Samsara has been a customer, now a friend, for the 5.5 years we've been here. That long. I'm blessed as a restaurant owner to be still here, to be honest with you. The success is now, I feel like we're not going anywhere, which also gives me the opportunity to do things that I believe in and what is right and what is good, like tonight. And it gives me this platform to have this space and to donate things to organizations I believe in. The Better Birth Foundation. So I want to thank you all for supporting Samsara, supporting the foundation, and just being here. Come back and see me, okay? I'm always here. Literally. Have a great night, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Delicious food, yummy food. Thank you.
We love you. So do you want to help with the raffle there, Tim? Want to help with the raffle? Okay, so we have wonderful stuff for our raffle. So we're going to go over to where the raffle area is. You can stop filming now.